All right, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that you're having a lot of feelings, my friend. And it has to do with your level of certainty around your stability and kind of figuring out your next move. For many of you, there could be this feeling of maybe you felt like you knew the path you were on, you knew where you were going, everything was solid, and then boom, something either happened or maybe a feeling, something kind of shifted in your energy to create a lot of confusion and overwhelm. And I just see you being not just confused about what to do next, but really anxious, really stressed, and wanting to handle this in a practical way, but possibly kind of currently being in the energy of being pretty overwhelmed, is what I'm seeing. Now, your oracle cards for the day are playfulness, friendliness, and the burden. So, Spirit's really asking you to bring a little bit of levity to the issue here, to the problem, bring some lightness to it. Become playful about your options, become friendly to the possibilities, open sort of your heart to everything that's possible to you, and try to see it as a beautiful opportunity rather than something that has to weigh you down. So there's something here about a little bit of a perspective shift. For many of you, I do see you kind of trying to be as logical as possible over and over again, trying to make sense of everything in your mind, maybe really counting your resources and trying to take an inventory of everything. And Spirit's asking you to relax your grip a little bit on knowing exactly what's going to happen and also just like the method with which you may be approaching sort of this issue. Now, I'm going to jump into the reading in a second, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you clicked on this reading, it's because it was meant for you on some level, but just remember to take what resonates and leave what does not. If it does resonate with you and you'd like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings. Down below in the description box is my email. And yeah, let's jump in here, Sagittarius. So, in the recent past, I'm seeing that you were extremely stressed about your stability. There's a feeling of, am I going to be okay? How am I going to deal with this situation? How am I going to work my way through that? And I see you really trying to like figure it out, like really sitting down and trying to be logical about the situation, trying to make sense of it, and being like, I can work this out somehow. Like I can make sense of this with my mind. And in the current energy, I see you at first sort of trying to take stock of everything, trying to make sense of everything, really dotting your I's and crossing your T's or whatever. And then as you kind of go through this larger healing process, you may realize that whatever it is that you're experiencing is not just about figuring out this one thing, or it's not just about this one event. You're actually on sort of a process with this energy that is larger. That's really about your healing. It's about your life path. It speaks to something larger within you here with the Hermit card coming out. And I see you kind of reflecting on your journey so far and everything that you've been through in order to kind of understand, okay, who am I at this point in my life as a soul and where am I meant to go from here? And I actually see you diving into some pretty positive energies in the future. You go from the Seven of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles, so an increase in stability, an increase in wealth. And you may not feel it yet, but this increase actually comes from your own energy and your own feeling of abundance. We have cards here that are a lot about confidence and positive energy and forward movement and being headstrong and taking your life by the reins. And you really transform from the beginning of the energy, from the beginning of the reading, from this kind of swords energy of like the mental and the logistical into the king energy of really stepping into your life force, stepping into your power, and stepping into more of an energetic flow with the universe rather than a logical sort of analysis of things. So it actually has a really positive outcome. And I see that in the current energy, you're really in the process of transmuting an energy. You're taking that logical, stressed, practical energy and you're going through sort of this osmosis within yourself where you take that energy and you transform it into something a lot more positive, a lot more confident, and a lot more free flowing. You may not be feeling that at this time. You may be going through some kind of icky, sticky energies, something painful, something stressful, something hard. It may feel like things are ending in your life and you're kind of trying to figure out those endings for many of you. But really, you're going to see that the endings are happening so that they can open the door. The tower is falling so you can construct something else. And I do see you constructing something really, really good and really positive. But at this time, I see you almost taking a step back to really evaluate where you've been and where you want to go moving forward. So let's take a look at your recent past here, Sagittarius. Something to do with your stability really stressed you out. Let's take a look at that. You could have been presented with a lot of confusing events or feelings or options. You may have had conversations with people you live with, or there could be other energies involved in your stability that suddenly became really, really confusing. And it's almost like at one point you felt really open and comfortable with these energies. They may have felt like energies that you could trust, that you could fall back on, that you could rely on, people you could be vulnerable with, or just an energy of safety within sort of maybe your home space or your workplace. And then I see a lot of sort of this upset energy, like something happened that was really upsetting within that space that kind of shook whatever positive foundations you had here. And I see you then kind of going into your mind and saying, okay, how am I going to deal with this? How do I want to proceed? There's definitely also something here about communication. So, you may have been exchanging energies with other people, and there's this feeling of maybe like not being able to trust your gut or not being able to trust the way you felt. Like it could have felt like, oh, I trusted these people and now I don't trust them, or I thought we were on solid ground and now I'm not. And because of that, I can't just move about the premises normally. Like I have to kind of guard myself. I see you kind of putting your guard up. You're showing me your heart and you're showing me your willingness to trust and sort of your inner child and all of that. And then you're showing me your swords up, and not really knowing if you can express those parts of yourself or if you even want to. And when it comes to making decisions, like really a lack of clarity, because you then become cut off from your heart space. And so whatever it was that was allowing your energy to kind of flow naturally, something happened here that really like put a sudden stop to that. I don't know if someone said something to you, or maybe it was a series of conversations and then you kind of realize like, oh my God, I can't trust these other energies. And I see you really kind of evaluating what happened here, almost from this like deeper spiritual place of like, not just how did I end up in this situation, but how did I end up in it spiritually? Like, what spiritual patterns do I have that are contributing to me being in this place, and how do I kind of move forward? And you're definitely showing me a willingness or a desire to move forward, but wanting to do it from the highest possible place, from a more healed kind of place, from your higher self. You're showing me that you want to tap into energies of love, that you're understanding maybe here's where I wasn't so loving, or here's where these energies weren't loving with me. How can I kind of course correct here and return to that energy of love? So you have a very positive intention here. And I see you kind of trying to go over, like, how did this happen? Like, how did I get to this place? Like, was I always loving? Like, was I always receiving or giving the love that I wanted to be giving and receiving? And what else do I want for my life? And I see that you're kind of realizing, like, okay, like, one way or another, a change really needs to occur here. Whatever it is that you're looking over in the past, you're like, I can't continue down that road. And so I'm shifting things. And I think that that is this burden that is coming through in your energy, is this feeling of like, oh my God, like all of a sudden, like I really need to change things. But energies don't always change overnight, like oftentimes energies move kind of slowly, but you're showing me almost this recognition of like, I have to change things. It's kind of like if you're building like an assembly line to create something, and you're almost done with the assembly line, and you had this whole plan and you're looking over it, and then you realize as you're looking at this assembly line that you built, that there's like a huge kink in the gears and that the assembly line just isn't going to run smoothly. And you built this assembly line yourself and you're looking at it and you're like, wait, how did I miss that or something? And then once you see it, you can't unsee it and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to change the whole thing. So I don't know necessarily that you're going to start from scratch. That could be the case for some of you. Others of you are just looking within yourself to see, like, how can I actually pull out the energies that I want here to make the change that I need? And because you are showing me a recognition of, like, it is within me, it is going to be a process. And it's almost like you're actually just putting up those swords around your heart because you know that you have this, like, precious love energy to give and you don't just want it to go spilling everywhere. You want to be intentional with it. So it's a very admirable energy that you have today, Sagittarius. You're showing me some type of really unhealthy connection. And you're kind of showing me that, like, within this connection, you may have realized that there's this kind of swirling unhealthy energy. And maybe it was always there and you just didn't see it. Maybe it just came through now. And I think that this is attached to that stability aspect that we were speaking about before. So this could be like a roommate, this could be a coworker, a boss, someone who has been very important to you, and you may even feel has some type of spiritual significance to you, but there's almost this feeling of like you can't really trust them, or this feeling of they might be keeping things from me, and like something happens to kind of make you realize this, and then you're kind of showing me now that I see that I can't trust them, that they have this sort of toxic energy attached to them. I see you kind of really holding back from them and also wondering, like, was that always there? How did I miss that? That's the kink in the assembly line. And I see you kind of just like suddenly just shifting your energy really like hard away from this person and just being like, whoa, 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 like I have a precious heart. I have a lot of love to give. I don't want to engage in that kind of toxicity. And so I have to move forward. And you're just kind of showing me like, I don't even necessarily know right now how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get to a place of love. And that is something that you're very committed to. And it's almost like, even though you have these energies within you, and I see them very strongly within you, there's this feeling of wanting to, excuse me, I'm just getting over being sick. There's a feeling of wanting to bridge the feeling of love energy that you have within you into the physical. And the process of doing that may feel like it's taking a long time, or almost like you don't know exactly how to bring it down into the physical. And I almost kind of see you like turning to one relationship or turning to one part of your life and being like, is this it? Is this where I'm going to be able to bring the love out into my reality? And then being like, nope, that's not going to work. And then, pivoting and moving in a different direction. And I see you kind of feeling all of the energies right now. Oh my God, I think I have to pivot. And so I see you doing exactly that and kind of taking that step back to heal and to be like, okay, what can I do to align my energy with my reality in the best, sort of most productive way? And I think that really starts with you putting yourself first and realizing that you have everything you need within yourself. Like almost that you don't need to rely on anyone else. You don't need to look to anyone else for stability. It's a really beautiful energy that's coming out, just as I said that, about you realizing that you were turning to all these external people for your stability, or these external factors. So even if it wasn't individuals, it could have been a workplace, or it could have been a career, or just something that formed your sense of identity and your sense of security. And I see you turning within and being like, wait a second, like I can be all of that for myself, and I don't need to rely on something outside of myself to provide that energy. And as soon as you do that, it's like it's just like this huge boost in your confidence. It's like you take off like a rocket ship. I don't know, you're flying. You're so strong, you're so beautiful, you're radiant, and other people start to notice, and that energy really propels you forward, because all of a sudden you're not splitting your energy, which in the past looks somewhat fragmented. You're saying, maybe this is going to bring me stability, or maybe this is going to bring me stability. Or, say you do have a bunch of roommates, you're like investing in those relationships, thinking I need those relationships to make you stable. And I see that energy kind of transmuting into you realizing, oh, like I am not only stable, I'm it. Like I'm the center of my own life. I can create whatever I need to create. It's a very fertile energy. It's a energy of like being ready to give birth, which I think was a theme in one of the last readings that I did for you, Sagittarius. And I see you kind of not just realizing that you have all this power within you, but actually feeling the power move through you and feeling the energy move through you. And you start to embody the feminine and the masculine together, and they start to come together in this really beautiful, holistic way. And that masculine energy that maybe you were looking for outside of you, now that you've harnessed it within you, you go from the Page to the King of Wands, and I see like the Sun card just came flying out, and I see you becoming really, really happy, and like I'm hearing like the light of 1,000 suns, but I'm seeing it like lighting up under your butt, and you're like taking off with this energy, and it's not even like you have to work hard for it. It's not even like you have to look for it. It's just there. And I think that in the current energy, you're kind of wondering like, when am I going to be happy? When am I going to be stable? When am I going to be able to embody this? And that's not how this is going to come about. It's going to be something that you feel, not something that you think. And I think that that is why Spirit is asking you to kind of step out of that heady logistical energy, because this is going to be a shift that is felt in your body and your soul, and not necessarily one that's going to show up in the typical practical ways. So you may have to get out of your comfort zone and step into your own energy in order to feel this kind of more concretely. And then I kind of see you being like, oh, I'm okay. I see a cycle coming to a close for you of lack mindset, scarcity, disappointment. And it's like that perspective shift that I spoke about in the beginning of the reading, where not only is the hardship and the disappointment coming to an end in your life, Sagittarius, but you're going to feel it differently. So even if those energies come through again, if something's really difficult or something doesn't work out the way you wanted, or there's disappointment and regret, I see that cycle really coming to a close for you, where not only is there not as much of that in your life, but the way that you approach it is fundamentally different, which actually shifts that energy yourself. And I just see you really taking control of your reality in a really beautiful, harmonious way. And if you showed up to this reading wondering, like, when is it all going to stop? Like, when am I going to be able to get a breather? Spirit's saying it's coming, and you're actually already feeling it, but you're feeling it in the form of all of these changes and all of these opportunities, and it may feel really tiring, and there may be a part of you that feels really guarded to some of the things that are coming your way, because you're so overwhelmed that you're like, I just want to break. Like, I don't want to have to work so hard just to live and feel good and everything. And Spirit's saying just hold on tight and try to open up and have fun during this transition period, because it is a transition period, and they want you to kind of go with the energy rather than fighting against it. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this helps. I hope that this resonates, and I'll see you next time.